What's up, Hope Church? Good morning. Happy Sunday. I am so excited to be with y'all today and that you are watching it online with us. Thank you so much. It means a lot that you could find a church anywhere, but you chose to listen in and tune into what Hope Church is doing. And I just wanted to give you just a few announcements before we started preaching. The first thing I would say is next week is our monthly missions offering, and we're going to take up an offering for Fire Bibles, which are just amazing Bibles that help people from any walks of life to just know about Jesus, and it gives really in-depth commentary. We're going to take up an offering to have Fire Bibles printed for people that live in Mongolia. Man, this is going to be an amazing opportunity for us to just spread the gospel, not just where we are, but all over the world. And so I want you to prepare your hearts for that and be able to give what God would have you give towards this Fire Bible offering. It's going to be awesome. And also, other thing I would want to tell you is that Connect groups are still meeting on Zoom. And we do it every Wednesday at 6:30, and so we would love for you to be a part of that. We are going to we send out a message every week through our mass text service, just putting out the meeting ID and the password. If you're not getting that and you would like to be a part of those reminders and want to be a part of our groups, just send us a message or put something in the comments. We will make sure that we will get you plugged into that, and that we can all just have a time of community in the middle of the week. And so, man, I'm so excited about today's message. I wanted to talk to you about a meme that I saw. I want to start out by, of course, 2020, we're talking about memes, but I found a meme that was pretty accurate. And it's going to come up on the screen. And this meme says that there are two types of people in the world. And you see these two examples over here, and you see two examples of gas gauges. Example A is the person that has 3/4 tanks of gas, and they are like, oh man, I need to fill up. And then you have example B, which are the people that have their gauge almost on E. And the gas light's on, and they start to approach a gas station, or they start to pass by one, and they're either late for work or they just don't feel like stopping, and they're just like, you know what? I got this. When my gas gauge hits E, this is what they think. When my gas gauge hits E, I have at least 25 more miles. I can make it back I can get to work, go back home, and then the next morning I'll get up and fill up for gas. Which, by the way, if I were to give you any advice that was just practical today, I would just say, don't wait till the morning to fill up for gas. Just do it at night. Do it after you get off work. Just a little practical thing there. But they say these things, oh yeah, I got it. It's all right. I know my car, bro. Trust me. I know my car. And how many of you guys are more like example A? And how many of you heathens? I mean, how many of you others are like example B? Come on, be proud of it if you are that way, and that's fine. I saw another meme like this, but it added a really funny part at the end, and it said that most of the time example B and example A are married, and I love that because in some ways that's true about my marriage. Michaela, it's not that Michaela doesn't want to get gas before it gets to E. Michaela just hates going to the gas station to get gas, period. And so if she can help it, she's always going to have me go get her gas, and I'm fine with that. I remember one time she got up in the morning before me, and she took my car that had probably was close to full, and she left me her car that only had about 15 miles until empty. I mean, I was praying in the Holy Spirit the whole time that I was that I was driving to the gas station, because I was thinking I was going to have a heart attack. The car was going to cut off, and I was going to have to walk to the gas station or walk back home to figure something out. And it's one of those things. It's nerve-wracking to me to get down to where the gas light comes on, my car, it does this. It's a pretty high tech. It has a, an indicator on there that says 50 miles until empty. And so now I'm pretty accustomed to seeing that light come on and then immediately going to the gas station after I see that light come on. And it helps me out. It's helped definitely with anxiety of thinking that I may run out of gas. But I do have a story that almost gave me a heart attack from almost running out of gas. And man, I was a youth pastor in Magnolia, and this was actually at the end of that time in Magnolia where I was transitioning from Magnolia, Arkansas to Bryan, Arkansas, so that we were still renovating our house here in West Helena, and we were trying to figure out how we could do that, but there was really no way to not move twice. So we moved twice, and my pastor from Unity Church, he was so gracious to let us drive the church van and load up stuff in the church van. And then we had a U-Haul that we were, or a trailer that we were taking with us with the church van. So me and a bunch of friends, we loaded up, we come to Bryant, we unload the trailer and the church van, and then we're on our way back to Magnolia to drop off the church van and the trailer. And we're riding down the street or riding down the highway, and then one of the guy in the passenger seat looked over and he said, "Hey man, we need gas." And so I looked down and I see that the gas gauge is on E, and the gas light's on, and so I am freaking out because I have no idea. I don't know the rule for this van. I don't know if it's 25 miles after E. I don't know if that's even a true thing. I think that some people just make that up, and it just, I don't know. But anyway, I'm sitting here and I'm looking at that, and I'm like, oh man, this church van isn't like my car. It doesn't have an indicator that tells me how many miles. It's just one of the regular old church vans, and so we're trying to figure out, okay, where's the nearest gas station? Where can we go? And it looked like, to me, I didn't think we had very many miles left in the van. And the nearest gas station to us, are you ready? It was 20 miles away. 20 miles away, and we're on E. And so when I tell y'all that we were calling down angels to try and get us to the gas station, that is an understatement. We were trying to get there. We were nervous the whole time. Not to mention, I felt like an idiot because I had no idea that this van was almost empty. And I'm sitting here. These thoughts are going through my head. I'm about to be a real pastor. Like I'm about to enter into leading a church. Like I'm gonna lead a church, and I let a church van. I can't even handle putting gas in the church van, and at the time Theo was, Michaela was pregnant. Theo wasn't here yet, and I'm like, how irresponsible can I be? I'm about to be a dad, and I'm letting this church van run on empty, and so all these things are going through my head, and thankfully we finally find the exit to where this gas station is. And we can see the gas station, and we're rolling up to the pump. And I kid you guys not, as we are rolling up to the pump, the van shuts off. And luckily, we have enough momentum that we just roll right into right up to the pump. And I'm just like, oh, thank goodness! Like, wow, I can't believe we got here that way. And I tell you all that because I was so relieved that I made it, but I was also so embarrassed that I let this van go empty. And you think about it, if you run out of gas, everyone knows that you weren't paying attention. Everyone knows that you made a humiliating mistake. And if you run on empty, you can't get anywhere. If you run on empty, you can't get anywhere. And here's the thing. Some of us are currently living our lives on empty. We are currently living our lives on empty. Have you ever been there before? Like you're tired and you're always exhausted and you feel like there's nothing left on the inside of you to keep going forward. Maybe today you're in one of those situations where you're just one wrong thing away from shutting down completely. Like you're caring for your aging parent who's sick, and if one thing else from any other spectrum of life goes wrong, you are going to lose it. Or you're a single parent trying to balance school and work and kids. You're staying busy, but you don't really feel productive, and you don't really feel like you're making a difference. Maybe you've been trying to get healthy, but it seems like you take one step forward and two steps back. Or maybe it's you've been trying to follow Jesus, but something always seems to knock you off course from that journey. And regardless of the reason you run on empty, it's just a sad state to be in, and it's a state that leaves us feeling worthless, leaves us feeling like we are doing nothing. And so here's the thing: how do you know if you're running on empty? Well, let's take a self-assessment right now. Here's a few ways you know. If you're looking at it physically, you're always tired. You can't sleep. You can't get enough sleep. You have constant headaches. Your blood pressure is unexplainably high. You have a cold or an infection all the time, and it doesn't seem like it'll ever go away. Or maybe it's mental for you. Maybe you fight change. Maybe you are always negative or cynical. Maybe you're impatient, or you struggle to make even the smallest decisions, or you're always worried. Or maybe for you it's an emotional emptiness. You're always angry. You're never happy. You are turning to drugs or other people for temporary dependence. And you think that it's long term, or you withdraw from relationships with others that you know will grow you, or that are conflicting against what you feel like doing and what you really should be doing. You have pent up emotions that you just keep forcing down and pushing down, and those all are unhealthy. Maybe for you it's spiritually. You're questioning your faith or your values. You're not really interested in church anymore. You spend less time in prayer and your Bible, or you blame others and make excuses for your lack of spiritual growth. All of us have had these things happen to us at some point in our lives. If we're honest, everybody's had some of those things happen. We've all ran out of gas at one point in time. And it happens to us. So we got to realize that. But here's the thing. Maybe you're here today because you're empty and you're headed for a crash. Maybe you hopped on this stream today because you feel empty, or God knew that you were headed for empty. And here's what I want to encourage you with today. Is the overarching theme is that God can give you the refill that you need today. God can give you the refill that you need today. And I want to teach you how he's going to do that. Today's promise is going to be from the book of Isaiah. And I thought it'd be a good book to look at and look at his writings, because the Israelites were experiencing spiritual, emotional, and mental, physical emptiness that they had during this time. And during Isaiah's ministry, there were all kinds of challenges for God's people. They experienced war and destruction and rebellion. And after years of the Israelites experiencing that, they were conquered by Babylon. And so when this is happening, being a Jew in Babylon became incredibly difficult. I mean, point blank, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Life was hard for them. They were forced to live as outsiders in their own home. That's a hard place to be. And that's a hard place to be inwardly as well. You feel like you're here, like you're physically here, but maybe everything else, maybe emotionally, mentally, you feel like you're on the outside. You feel like you're living empty. And in the middle of this climate where God, where things seem hard, God sends a promise through the prophet Isaiah. And he sends it in chapter 40. I love this. You're going to see how Isaiah addresses the bad that has to happen, or that has been happening, and the good that's going to come. And so we're going to be in verse 28, Isaiah 40, verse 28. It says, "Do you not know? Have you not heard?" Isaiah is rebuking the Israelites because they were convinced that God had written them off. They were complaining and upset because God must have given up on them, or they thought that God would have done something by now. They started to question God, and what happened was they would say things like, "Why did this happen? Can God really save us? What's the deal here? Why are we facing these current situations?" And because Isaiah knew that they were having these questions internally, he wanted to encourage them with his response to the question. And he says this. He says, "The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth, and he will not grow tired or not grow weary." I think the important thing to remember in this is that in ancient times, they had little g gods and goddesses, and what they would and they believed that these people were a higher power, but they had human emotions. So like they got fed up, they got tired, and they would leave the people if the people disappointed them. But let me encourage you, that's not the God that we serve. The God the big G God that we serve, it says here that he never gets tired and he never grows weary. That is so sometimes I think we have this concept with God that we wear God out, or that God is angry at us, or that we get on God's nerves. Here's the thing, God, that is not even a part of God's character, is for him to get tired or weary of us. That's the furthest thing from God's mind. God can't even fathom being worn out by his people. He loves us too much for that. And I love they just restated here, and Isaiah restates it here in verse 29. He says, "He will not grow tired or weary, and his understanding no one can fathom." Man, we can't even begin to describe who God is or what he does. And that's why Isaiah uses the metaphor and imagery that describes it, or that to try and describe it. The literal translation for what he's trying to say, no one can fathom, no one can understand his understanding, is Yahweh. He's basically saying this: Yahweh is the God of the long view. So God is he's not tired, or he's not tied to a moment, or he's not tied to a geographical location. Isaiah is saying this: hey, don't forget, God is everlasting. He created the ends of the earth, and he's the Alpha and he's the Omega. He's the beginning and he's the end. He will not forsake you or not abandon you. Why is that? Because he created you. He created you. And if God is this big being, if he's this big, all-knowing, all-powerful person, and he created you, you got to understand that he's not going to grow tired or weary of you. He's not like us. And he's not like other gods that you've heard of. He's the one true God that has no weakness. That's awesome, because he doesn't require substance to sustain himself. There's nothing else in this world that would make God God. He's just God all by himself. And I love that, because he never gets tired. He never gets overwhelmed. He sees and he knows what's happening. You see, God is unlimited, and I want you to understand that if he's unlimited, God is with you wherever you go, and you may get tired and you may get weary, but listen, it says here, his strength to the weary, he is strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. So some of you are weary right now, which means you're exhausted, you're ready to quit the fight, ready to give up on the race. But be encouraged today that God is giving you strength. He's giving you power, and he's given it to those who's he giving it power to? It says he's giving power to those who are weak. I love this. He even talks about how even youth grow tired and weary, and a young man stumbles and falls. So Theo's a great example of this. let me tell you, he's a baby. He's almost 9 months. Actually, today he would be 9 months, and so this dude loves to move around. I'm telling you, when he's awake, as soon as his eyes open, it's like he is just kicking, like he's running a marathon or something. Like I mean, and he has amazing core strength. He loves sitting up and it's like he's always doing exercise. Like I don't know. One day he may be, the next big bodybuilder, or the next big, Taibo guy. Who knows? But this guy, he's always. Theo is always moving around, and people tell us all the time that when they see him, they're like, "Man, when that boy can walk or when that boy can crawl, you better watch out because you are going to be chasing him all over the place." And I believe him because I just know that this boy, he is a mover. But here's the thing, Theo gets tired too. And it's so funny to me because it's like it just happens like in an instant. Like, I mean, all you got to do is hold him, put his passy in, and it's like lights out. Dude is snoring, and I've never seen anybody go into that quick of a deep sleep before. But even youth get tired. Man, when I was a youth pastor, I remember us we never did a lock in because, and I'm not knocking people that do that or whatever, but I just didn't feel the Lord calling me to a lock in, okay? But what we did was we would have them there until like midnight. Some nights we'd start early and play games till midnight, and then we make the parents come pick them up. I don't know if that was cruel or whatever, but we tried to tire them out and then go send them home so they could sleep, and man, I remember just feeling like loving to hang out with these guys because they had so much energy. Like, they were so much fun to be around. But ultimately, what would always happen, even on trips that we would take, is we would go out and have fun, and then on the church ride or church van ride back to the church and whatever, they would just fall asleep, and which would leave me at a strange place too, because I felt like I was always the only one up, and I was driving, and so like I'm like playing loud music, trying to stay up, and all this stuff. But I say all that to say this is I want you to understand that we get tired. Even the young of us, even the youngest of us, even the best of us get tired. But God is not like man. He has energy forever. And Isaiah shared a promise that I think is going to encourage us and change the way that we think about how we face weariness and being empty. And I want to share this with you because I believe that this is the meat of just helping you if you feel empty today. Isaiah 40:31, it says, "But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles, and they will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint." Man, don't you want that for you? That if you hope in the Lord, He's going to fill you up, refill you with His strength. And His strength, what does it come with? It comes with the ability to soar like eagles, to run and not grow weary, and to walk and not grow faint. Man, I love that. Other translations, it changes. There's interchangeable words where in other translations where it says those who hope. Other translations say those who trust in the Lord, and there's another one that says those who wait on the Lord. And if you want if you want the promise, you have to do the other part. You have to put your hope in the Lord. You have to put your trust in the Lord, and then you have to wait on the Lord. And I want you to consider that. Are you hoping? Is your hope, where is it today? Is it hope in the Lord? Are you trusting in Him? Are you patiently waiting on what He has for you? But I understand that. Let's go deeper. How do we do that? How do we do those things? Well, first I want to talk about hope. We are Hope Church, and our heart is to hope and to feel expectation and to desire for certain things to happen in your life through God. And I love that. That's the definition of a feeling of expectation or a desire for certain things to happen. You got to understand that hoping in the Lord isn't just wishing that something would happen. It's not just sitting still and wishing that things will go your way. It's not this thought that God is going to just partner with you in whatever in everything that you do. It's the mindset that God is going to do what he said he will do in your life. And that will lead you to the best version of you. And I think too many times we ask God to make us like a certain person or to make us like somebody that we see that seems happier than we do. And I think that's where the root of where weariness comes, in my opinion, is that we get our minds off of the version of us that God wants to make in us, and the version and we get off the focus of following Jesus, and we see other people that look happier than we do, and we start to follow their lead. And I want to encourage you that you'll never be happy following someone else's our plan. You'll never be happy following someone else, because God has a plan that is designed for you. He has a plan that is designed for you. And the biggest reason that we run out of gas is because we can't be somebody else when God has called us to be us. I would say it like this: don't be the JV version of somebody else when your strength is found in the varsity version of you following God. Hope in the Lord. I want you to hope in him. I want you to understand that word, hope. And then the second thing I want you to understand is trust. Trust. It's a similar concept. Partnering mindsets in hope and trust is, to me, this is what I think is the difference in those. Hope is anticipating that the Lord is going to give you his strength. And then trust says that I'm not going to go anywhere else to try and find that strength. Now, I need to tell you that because I think that sometimes we get impatient with the Lord, and as he's revealing things to us, or we don't like how he's renewing our strength, so we run to things that act as fuel that actually still leave us empty. And so we substitute things like personal prayer life and Bible study for self-help thinking and good vibes and things that help us to feel better and all of these things. But true fulfillment, true worth is found when you're communicating with the one who created you, and when you're learning his voice and his word. And we substitute true freedom for finding something that gives us a temporary release. Man, how many times have we tried to avoid our problems or pin down our problems instead of looking them straight in the eye and saying, I want freedom from you? We substitute making a difference for just staying busy. That's the word that we all love. We're tired and we're busy. And sometimes I want to ask people, are you busy doing what the Lord has called you to do, or are you just busy because that's what everybody else says is the mark of success? And I want you to understand that are we doing the things that we think is going to help us in our own strength, or are we trusting in the Lord? So you got to hope, you got to trust. And then the third thing I would say is we need to wait on the Lord. Now, we've been learning this concept that the Lord never wants us to look at phrases like this and think that means lazy, passive Christianity. Waiting on the Lord isn't sitting around and wishing that God would hurry up and do what we wanted him to do. But I think of it like this, is that you're like waiting on the Lord, and then you're like, okay, well, you're saying the same thing. But think about it in terms of like if you go into a restaurant and you have what they call a waiter or a waitress, and you're waiting on the Lord. So how many of you guys have been there and you've been to a restaurant, and what do waiters and waitresses do? They serve. They serve. They serve their who is in front of them. And I think so many times we get it so mixed up. We say things like, God, when are you going to give me what I want? In translation, God, when are you going to serve me? But we need to change that to, when are you going to serve me, to, Lord, how can I serve you? How can I serve you? I truly believe that there's strength in serving and waiting on the Lord. I had a friend that used to struggle with depression, and they were struggling with it real bad. So much so that I felt scared for them a lot, because I really felt like they were may do something to harm themselves at some point in time, and I would pray for that friend, find myself praying for them often, and I would always try and talk to them about this is like, the Lord loves you so much, and your life is so valuable, and you're such a special person to the Lord. I want you to I want you to be free from this depression, and it's not like they didn't want to be. I mean, they did, but it seemed like for a while there was just a wall there. They were hitting a wall, and after a while, we were hanging out one day, and I just kind of looked over and I said, man, you don't really struggle. Like, you seem happier. You seem like lighter and more free than I've ever seen you before. And they were like, yeah, absolutely. And I said, what do you think changed for you? And they thought about it for a second, and then they looked up at me and they were like, you know what? I think it was when I decided to stop focusing on my problems and decided to start serving God. And that just opened up a lot for me to realize that they stopped living for themselves and started living to serve and do what the Lord told them to do. Started to wait on the Lord. And they started telling me how it wasn't necessarily they were trying to avoid their problems, but any chance that they had to get out and do something that they knew that was going to advance the kingdom, that was going to help make a difference in the church and in someone's life, or something that the Lord instructed them to do, something that just came in their mind that they felt like God had impressed on them, they did it. They did it, and over time they began to realize how through serving the Lord they found true fulfillment. True fulfillment. They felt empty, and then the Lord fulfilled them with true strength, true purpose, and I love that. I love that if you hope, if you trust, and if you wait, Isaiah describes the type of strength. And I said it earlier, you'll soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not grow faint. This is the type of strength that you can tap into when you give your all to the Lord. When you put your trust, when you put your hope, when you put when you wait on Him, when you put your faith in Him. And today, here's what you got to understand is the indicator that you may be on E is that you haven't been seeking power the right way. You haven't been seeking strength the right way in the right places, because the only place to find strength is in the Lord. And today, man, you may feel empty. You may feel like you got nothing left to go through your day. You may feel like I just feel void and nothingness. But I want to encourage you. The Lord, He fills empty things. The Lord takes things that feel like nothing is going on, and He takes nothing and makes it something. The Lord will fill your emptiness. God can use empty.
Oh, all you can do with broken things, you make them new and their souls sing. Oh, all you can do is someone like me. I may seem lost, but I'll follow where you lead. You can use empty. You fill it with your glory, for your glory. You can use empty. You fill it with your glory, for your glory. If all I have are the praises on my breath, I'll bring it to you. I know you'll fill me up again. If all is quiet and it seems death has overcome, I'll trust it to you. I know you'll bring it to life again. And if I know one thing, dead or living, oh, you can use me for your glory. You can use empty. You fill it with your glory, for your glory. You can use empty. You fill it with your glory, for your glory. So I come empty. I know you will fill me overflowing. So I come empty. I know you will fill me for your glory.
Hey, today I want to pray with you. I want to pray with those that say, Pastor Quay, I don't know God like that. I don't know that strength. But I want to. I want to start a relationship with him today. I want to start this walk that we call Christianity, this salvation. And if that's you, man, I want to pray with you. But also I want to pray with the Christians that are watching today, and they say, Pastor Quay, I have been following God, but I feel like I've also been trying to find my strength in other things, and I realize now that that's leaving me empty. Man, as I was writing this message, there were things that I thought, I am seeking strength from these things, and I need to cut that so that I can find my source and my strength only in the Lord. And let's pray. Father, help those today that are empty, that are just feeling emptier than they ever have before. I know this is a time of where it just seems like we have seen more drama and more tragedy and more just more heartache than we've ever had in years of past. And God, I pray that right now that we realize that this is an opportunity for you to fill us, for you to build us up, for you to make us complete. And that's only found by following your Son, who died on the cross for us, but was risen 3 days later to sit at your right hand. And so, God, today I pray that we turn away from our old ways, that we turn away from all the things that have drained us, all the things that have left us just feeling empty, and we turn to you. We turn to you today, and that I pray for those that are following you as well, and that we just find our hope, our trust, and our faith, and we wait patiently on you. thank you today for your Spirit. We thank you today for bringing new people into this family we call the church, and we love you in Jesus' name. Everybody said, man. So here's the thing. Today, if you prayed that prayer, that means that you have started a relationship with Jesus and that you are a part of this family that we call the church. Now, I want you to understand this. You just started a relationship with Jesus, but I want to encourage you and let you know that this walk is not for people that are alone. So today, I want you to, if you did pray that, I want you to send us a message. I want you to email us or contact us in some way so that we can help you take next steps to further this relationship with God. And we want to help you learn what it is to be baptized, go in public with your faith, learn what it is to help you find freedom and be a part of a group and learn to work through your problems and find your purpose and do whatever you can to make the biggest difference, to leave the biggest mark on this earth for God's glory. We want to help you do all those things. So if you would contact us, we would love that. And guys, we love you and we thank you for tuning in today and those that tune in every week. We just we can't thank you enough. I want you to remember that strength is found in God today. I hope that you have a great week. Hey guys, thanks for watching this video today. We so appreciate you being in worship with us. If you know someone that would love to watch this, would you share it on your page or tag them in the video? And also, if you're looking to give today, we're going to have the link in the comments, and you can just follow that link over to our online giving platform. You can also send in you can mail in your tithe, or you can bring it by the church at any time and contact me about that. We hope that you have a good week.
All you can do with broken things, you make them new and their souls sing. All you can do with someone like me, I may seem lost, but I'll follow where you lead. You can use empty, you fill it with your glory, for your glory. You can use empty, you fill it with your glory, for your glory. All you can do with fragile things, you make them stronger and bold and free. All you can do with someone like me, Lord, you alone run my destiny. You leave it to you. I know you'll pick me up again. If all I have are the praises on my breath, I'll bring it to you. I know you'll fill me up again. If all is quiet and it seems death has overcome, I'll trust it to you. I know you'll bring it to life again. And if I know one thing, dead or living, oh, you can use me for your glory. You can use empty. You fill it with your glory, for your glory. You can use empty. You fill it with your glory, for your glory. So I come empty. I know you will fill me overflowing. So I come empty. I know you will fill me for your glory. All you can do with broken things, you